This is In the Zone with Ian, Robb, and Dancin Rhoda. One's a mental toughness coach who also helps riders with recovery. The other, a horseman with soul, who is also a marriage counselor for the rider and horses. Together, they dive beyond ribbons and rankings to where real riders train, the mind. From elite arenas to quiet barns, this show is about the mental edge, the recovery rhythm, and the heart that keeps you in sync with your horse and yourself. So whether you're tuning in from the tack room or the open road, saddle up. You're in the zone now.
Welcome back to In the Zone with Ian, Robb, and Dancin Rhoda. Pete, I'm excited today because we got one of the hottest names in international dressage. A guy who rides like he's been here for about 20 years and he's still hunger for someone chasing greatness with every single day. He actually won the gold in the Pan Ams, World Cup's final silverless medalist, and proof that future U.S. dressage is in very good hands, Pete. Welcome, Christian Simonson, to officially In the Zone.
Welcome. Great to be here. Thank you so much. Sounds like such an official title, but just happy to be here.
So, Christian, tell us a little bit about your background so that people that may be listening that doesn't know who you are can get where you started, where you went to, and all your accomplishments.
Yeah, so I grew up in Southern California. I started riding with my sister when we were kids, just kind of quarter horses and having fun and riding Western. And then I just loved animals since I was really young. I always wanted to be around them. I wanted to be like a young Steve Irwin, just like always wanted to be surrounded by animals. And then when I was around 9 or so, I started riding dressage and I just fell in love with it. There was an amazing trainer in California that kind of started that journey. And then I started my first competitions when I was 13. And then I've just been competing in dressage since then. And it's been an incredible journey with so many special people. And I get to ride a part of the Zen Elite equestrian team now. And it's just an honor to be part of that team and all the success with these special horses.
So how old are you now?
23.
And I'm not going to let you skip over. You said Steve Irwin?
Yeah, that's who my idol was growing up. That was like the
yes.
Yeah, that's someone
danger.
Yeah, it was just so much fun, and I just has such a love for animals and conservation, and it was something that really was imprinted upon me as a young boy.
And you mentioned trainer. Who was that trainer in Southern California?
Gail Hoff-Carmona, as well as Jan Ebling.
Okay, I always like to make sure they get the credit.
Yeah, it's very well deserved.
Myself. I want to make sure they get the props. And where in Southern California did you live?
I grew up in Camarillo, California, but I was born in Ventura, California.
Okay, because I lived in San Diego, Rancho Santa Fe area for a long time. So
yeah,
I think I saw some sort of music video that you did with Anna Buffini or something of that nature.
Yeah, probably. Anna's also from Southern California and known her for a really long time, is also an incredible writer and human as well.
Yes, and she just said too that right now she's going to be stepping away from competing.
Yeah, I'm really excited for that phase of life for her. It seems really exciting and it seems like she has a lot of cool things that are in the works that are even outside of horses.
Oh, she just got engaged too, so that's pretty.
Yeah, I saw that.
All right, enough about Anna.
Jeez, I didn't know we were interviewing Anna. So what hooked you on horses and what led you to dressage?
I think what hooked me on horses is they're an animal, I think, that never lies to you. I think they're so truthful, and I think being with them, you form such a special partnership. And I remember as a kid, just seeing them in the field, I always thought they were powerful and kind of majestic animals. And then, so I just kind of was always really drawn to them. We were fortunate that my dad, as a young kid, would have us go feed apples to them. And I was like, this is so cool. They're so big. I felt like I was like riding something from a fairy tale. And then dressage really started from Gail, from when I was a young boy. She made it really fun where we do lunge lining lessons. She'd teach me how to pick up the canter with no reins, how to stop a horse with no reins, how to ride with no stirrups. We would do really fun exercise where we spin around in the saddle, all while holding your balance. And so that made it so much fun and so captivating as a young boy who wanted to keep his attention going. And so that's really brought me into dressage. I think I then further fell in love with the sport when I started competing. So it's like competition and horses and partnership. And those are like all my favorite things blended together in this special sport.
So name your favorite or your first horse, and was it a good horse, bad horse?
Yeah, my first horse's name was Zombo. He was a Lusitano pony, and he was very cheeky, I would say. He would kind of constantly buck, and whenever we did a test, he would always try to do a flying lead change when that wasn't required. And so he taught me a lot also about, I would say, patience and expecting the unexpected. And so that was my first horse that I competed in ponies, I would say. And it was kind of also fun having a non-warm blood start in dressage, because I think it's really fun to see that any horse can do dressage. It doesn't matter if it's a quarter horse to a full-blown warm blood. This doesn't matter.
I always say that dressage is the basics of everything you do with a horse.
Totally.
If you do dressage well, at the beginning, you'll be able to take it to anything you do.
Yeah, dressage is just like a French word for training. I really think that's true, where it's just the foundation of anything you'd like to do. And I think the principles are still the same regardless. So I think it's such a cool sport that way.
So, Christian, I like that you're having so much fun, especially when you started learning, because that's a great way to get started because you're enjoying yourself. When did you start thinking that, okay, I might actually be really good at this?
Man, I still don't know if that's the case so far. I feel like I'm still trying to prove myself, and I'm like constantly humbled by those I work with and how little I know at times. But I think the pivotal moment in my career where I was like, wow, I really want to devote my life to dressage was when I was around 16 or so. I met an incredible trainer who I'm still with. I get to learn from every day, named Adrian Lyle. And at the time I was living in California with my parents, and I got to meet Adrian in the Florida season. And it was the first time where I had to make a decision of moving out of my home state and following Adrian and her whole team. And that was like the best decision ever. I got to learn so much from her in those kind of young rider years. And then still to this day, I'm just constantly humbled by how much I learned from her. And so that was, I think, one of those pivotal moments. I was like, wow, I'm going for it. And I'm so excited.
So, what did the young Christian think success looked like? And how does it differ now?
I think maybe that's such a good question. I think maybe young Christian saw medals and placings and just raw competition as the peak, or that's what success looked like. And I think now I have a lot more appreciation for the journey, and the real success is the partnership with your horse and the journey you've gone to get with. And whether you're first or 10th or doesn't matter, because it's really all about your personal best. And everyone comes from different levels, et cetera, and different ages of horses, et cetera. And so now I think I have a lot more understanding of, yeah, personal best is the success to me, even if it isn't a first place that day.
Which is supposed to be.
Yeah.
You're competing against, just like playing golf. You're competing
Definitely.
against the last score you did or the best score you can get, not you're getting first, second, third, even though now they do that.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think when I was younger, I was like, oh man, I really wanted to be the best in this category and win this thing. And now I'm just like, I enjoy so much of the daily process with these horses and getting to build these partnerships with them, that if it goes well, great. But if not, as long as I'm learning and I'm progressing and I get to understand my horses more, that to me is the biggest gold medal of it all.
Christian, you talk about this relationship with your horses and what you're learning. What, how do you connect with them? Is there certain things that you do to begin before you even get on them and start to compete?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, and I take a lot of these principles just from just general horsemanship, separate from dressage. But I think for me, it's especially if it's a horse I don't know, it's really understanding like what's the personality like in the barn. Spending a lot of time hand grazing them and turning them out and watching them and turn out, understanding all of their unique quirks, like what are their favorite treats, where do they like being groomed, what does their nutrition look like, what do they like the most, what do they respond to the best. And I think lots of time also outside of the dressage ring, like trail riding and hacking and stuff like that. But for me, also, like, I just love hand grazing my horses if we aren't in a spot where we can't have paddocks, and just getting to, yeah, feed them treats and hang out with them and groom them. And I think knowing what all their legs look like, what does their backs feel like, what do the muscles feel like, those for me are like the big foundational ones that before we ever put a saddle on, or like, do I understand those things? And am I doing the best I can for that horse on that day?
So before we go on, Ian, I'm just going to have to give kudos to Christian here. For a young guy to be that good at responses, because we didn't give you the questions and we're coming off the cuff a little bit and you're just knocking it out of the park. Where did you get that from? Is that a natural thing, or did you develop it because you get interviewed through all these competitions eventually?
I mean, I think part of it is just 'cause it's a truthful answer. I feel so easy. I mean, the truth of what I do every day. It's what do you do every day? I'm like, I can tell you exactly what it is. Of course, I've been fortunate enough to have some interviews, and so I know hopefully how I can enunciate and pronounce certain things. But for the most part, it's just I get to give the truth of what I do every day and like the honest feedback. I think it'd be a lot harder to answer these questions if I was making it up.
Yeah, I'm surprised he actually brought that up, Christian, because I thought for sure once you started going into the horsemanship, because that's his field, that's what he
Yeah,
does.
well, I do have a little background, and I was like, I knew Danson Pete was a true horseman, and so I really related to everything that you're doing because I think it's just so true of no matter what profession or competition you're doing for the horses, if you don't have the foundational understanding of who are
Well,
they as animals and what do they like, and they all have such unique personalities and characters.
he calls himself the marriage counselor for horses. So if
I
you
saw that.
on your communication with one of your horses, I'll give you his number and you can get him on speed dial.
And once again, I'll give you kudos on this, is at your level, I teach a lot of trainers, and a lot of times the ego is above them, and you have stuff that you could teach me because I don't have that level of thought patterns in the upper level stuff. And then you would take stuff from me. And what would you tell a rider that has that ego and says, "Oh, he does the ground stuff and does loose rein riding and stuff. That's not going to help me." What would you say to them from what your experiences are?
Yeah, I think it's so hard for me to understand why. For me, the biggest success is learning. I have so much fun learning from the horses, and I feel like I'm just at 1% of my knowledge every day. And there's constant things I'm like, oh, I could have done that better. I could have communicated that in a certain way that probably would have helped the horse understand more in a short duration of time. And so I think if it was a person that didn't have that mentality, it's if you want to progress in a competition sense, which is maybe they don't want to or something like that, but the foundation of that is the humility of not knowing and wanting to understand. And so I'm like, I'm super fascinated also like all the stuff that you do because I'm like, I just would want to know, separate from dressage, it's just cool stuff. And any way to communicate anything to a horse better and to have that understanding to me is fascinating, exactly what I would want to know every day. So that's kind of how I would think about it.
I think too, and we haven't really talked about it, but when I was teaching tennis, the family, the support that you get from your family is very important in your success. How did it shape your ability to ride where you are right now and working with your family?
That's such a good point. I've been unbelievably fortunate that my parents were really supportive of my youth career. And I got to ride really amazing horses as a result. Some that we've trained up, but they gave me that foundational ability to even go get dressage lessons. Just in of that in and of itself is was an incredible privilege, and I feel really honored for it. And I always thought to myself, and still now I'm like, if I'm in a place of privilege, it's also my duty to work as hard as I can because I've been given so much. And I think to whom much is given, much is expected. And so I really try every day to be like, okay, if I'm given this opportunity also when I was a kid, I also really want to work my butt off to make sure I can make the most of it. And so that's how I also feel today being a part of the Zen Elite team, where I'm like, every day I'm like, I'm so happy to be here and so happy with the journey of this team, but I really just want to understand more each day and try to be a better horseman.
I'm kind of curious though too, when we're talking about these different things, and you're competing at this level here, what's tougher is just winning once or staying consistent at the high level that you're at right now?
Yeah, I think maybe those are like two in the same. Because I think in my mind, horses, of course, are not machines. And so if you're fortunate enough to have maybe multiple successes in a row, it's really more of a testament to the horse himself and how he's able to show up consistently at competitions. And I think also that kind of pans into, so my short answer would be, I think hopefully doing well at multiple competitions. But I think that also requires an incredible team of massage therapists and acupuncturists and saddle fitters and veterinarians and everyone in between, that they are all working at their 110% so that when a horse and I are able to step into a ring, we're able to show our best. I'm just kind of like the person that's riding the horse, but there's really a huge team behind it. And so I think when you're able to see maybe success after success with shows, it's really a testimony of how well the horse is recovering because of the incredible team of, yeah, massage therapists and nutritionists and everyone that we have that really are making the horse feel at its best consistently.
So it's a team competition. And we think when you say team, the two of you and the horse, where you're actually saying it's a barn full of team that gets
Yeah.
you where you're going.
Yeah, that's a really fair point. Yeah, I think we always think of the team as the horse and rider, and that's certainly true because that's represented in the arena. But the team is truly like a group of 15 to almost 30 people that are all working every day, and then you get to just show everyone's work in 8 minutes in a dressage test. But it's really a culmination of so many people and so many hours that are working, and I feel really grateful for that whole team.
So I saw you at the FAI World Cup down Fort Worth, and I saw you here at the World of Questions there just recently. Tell us, what was it like competing for the USA and being able to, what did that pressure teach you?
Yeah, I love competing for the USA. I'm like very proud to be American and I'm proud to represent our sport also overseas as well. Of course, and I've been fortunate to represent in my youth career the USA in Europe and stuff like that. And so I've always felt so honored to be a part of that. I think in Texas, it was an extra honor because it was, of course, a home World Cup. It was also an honor to be like a Zen Elite rider because it was a Zen Elite World Cup. And so I think whenever I have the same level of whether I'm doing a backyard show or here in Wellington or if it's a World Cup, I always want to represent my best. And so I think for me, it's just like a standard level of how do you show up every day. And so I don't think of it too differently now, other than I have maybe a little bit of extra honor and pride because I just feel very fortunate to be in that position.
So what's something that us from watching don't realize what international dressage competition? Give us a secret.
Oh, man. Okay, let me think. I'll tell you. Yeah. Let me grab the book. I think, of course, dressage is meant to be. If I heard this recently and explained to my sister, who's rode a little bit, but of course has learned dressage as I've continued my career, but that if it looks easy, it probably is really hard. And I think in dressage, of course, we're meant to have very perfect positioning. Our aids are meant to look almost invisible. And so if it looks very easy, it probably is really difficult. And it's required a culmination of hundreds, if not thousands of hours of doing those specific movements day in and day out and growing as the horse and team grow. And so that's something I always try to show people when they're new to dressage, etc.
So I'm going to go into my sweet spot a bit more about the mindset for elite performance. For you, what is in the zone? What does it actually feel like and look like for you?
Yeah,
So,
I like love the mindset and the part of the performance I actually like love talking about and studying, etc. That's like one of my favorite things. I think to me in the zone looks like just being incredibly present. I think it's especially in horse sports where you're dealing with an animal that has ever-changing variables and you really have to read every cue and every feeling that horse is giving you in the moment. To me, being in the zone is just being really understanding and receptive of those cues and those emotions that horse is giving you in that moment. And so that to me is what it really looks like. And not having the human ego of being like, okay, well, no, we have to do this. It's what is my horse telling me in this moment, in this test? And how can I either guide them in the right direction or put them in the best position possible?
So I love that statement, Christian, because you went more into the I call conversation of communication, where a lot of people just say, shut up and do what I tell you. And especially, unfortunately, in the dressage thing, a lot of people watch that is
Mhm.
they're doing things with the horses that are they having a conversation?
Yeah.
So I love that you take that as the conversation. I think it's the first one we've had in the zone meant more of a conversation with the horse than anything.
Yeah, that's really how I see it. I appreciate you saying that because I think it's also really true. I think if you want to have the most efficient and effective communication with your horse, it's in the form of a conversation, not a speech or demands. I think yeah, horse sport. And of those tiers of horse sport, it happens to be dressage as well.
so is much of dressage, is it mental or is it physical? More physical for you?
I think a big part of dressage, fortunately, like a dressage rider in our careers can have 30 or 40-year careers. I really hope I get to compete into my 50s or 60s. And so it is a big mental sport, but I think also I really try to stay on top of physical as well. I think you have to have a level of cardiovascular fitness, especially if you're competing in hot days. You're using your whole body to communicate with a 1,400-pound animal. And even if the aids are invisible, you're still working really hard. So I think having physical fitness in terms of balance and flexibility and really symmetry in the saddles because one small asymmetry in your body can really make an asymmetric muscle development or anything like that in the horse as well. So I would say maybe, I don't know, 60-40 or 50-50 of a mental to physical, where it's really important to be present with the horse, of course, but also to be fit as well.
So I do a lot of people that make changes because of the horses. So what has horses in your journey taught you about yourself?
I think they've taught me patience. That probably what I think is the right answer is probably not the right answer. Also, I think horses have especially of doing that, where they're like, no, this is actually. I think being more present as well. That's been taught a lot to me from horses, and I think the black and white nature of how horses are as well. That horses really are very clear animals. They really tell you exactly how it is. There's no gray with them. And I think that's something I've also really grown to appreciate about horses as well.
I find it kind of interesting, but I also think it's important too. What role does fitness and recovery? You're talking about you got to be in good shape, but how much is recovery important to you, and what do you do with your recovery aspect?
In terms of the human or the horse or both?
Let's do both.
Yeah, for the human, we're fortunate enough that part of the team, we have a massage therapist that comes. And so I think it's really about that symmetry in the saddle and having, in particular with dressage, having muscles that are developed that really allow you to apply similar amounts of pressure and in even ways all over. And so I definitely find myself getting quite sore after a long week of riding. And so I try to find a massage therapist or someone that's here in Wellington to work on me. And then in terms of the horses, we find that incredibly important to have recovery from them in every way possible because they are also athletes and require a lot of recovery so they can perform their best and so that we can show them at their best as well and then they feel comfortable and happy.
Yeah, I find that when I was teaching, everyone's conditioning was pretty good. Nutrition was getting better and better. Hydration, but the recovery aspect of it was is they're not really focused on that. But nowadays, I think a lot more people are really focusing on their recovery and what they're trying to do so they can bounce back faster for the next competition.
Yeah, I think that's super true.
So, this is our favorite part of the show. This is the in the zone lightning round.
Oh man, okay.
So, we don't want you to think too hard. We want whatever comes to your mind first from these questions.
Okay.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right, here we go. First question. Favorite horse snack
Like snack for me or snack for the horse?
for the horse?
For the horse, apples.
Favorite rider growing up?
I would say, man, that's really tough. I would say maybe Catherine Dufour and Adrian.
Okay, your favorite snack after you ride?
Banana. Banana protein shake.
One word that describes Indian rock.
1 in a million.
Coffee or energy drinks?
Both, maybe, but coffee.
Favorite show venue?
I would say either WEC or Aachen.
If you were to have a song being played as you were a baseball player pitching coming out from what would be your music?
I have a tiger. I've been on a really rocky music lately.
Okay.
Hardest movement in dressage?
Rainback or the canter zigzag.
Most underrated rider quality?
Resilience.
Favorite music before competition?
Either classical music or rap music. There's not a lot in between, I think.
Wow, we just got to
Beethoven and Eminem. Here we go.
All right, early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Favorite cheat meal?
Chick-fil-A.
One horse you wish you would have ridden?
I think either Vallecro in the dressage side or Secretariat. I think he would have been an incredible horse to.
Most nervous you've ever been?
That's a good question. I think maybe before the Pan Ams, I was really nervous.
Best advice Adrian Lyle ever gave you?
It's our duty as riders to protect the horse from atmosphere. She gave me a lot of really good advice, but one of my favorites is our duty to protect our horse from atmosphere, and it's our job to make sure we make our horses happy as possible, no matter where they are, and to act as like the shield from outside pressure, and to think about that every day. And she also has an amazing ability of learning each day from the horses. I really admire that as well.
That's great again, because I talk about the environment. Like
There we go.
everyone just wants the connection to the horse, and I'm like, he's also got to connect to the environment so that he can be okay when he goes to do the competition. So that's great.
Get back to the lightning round.
Sorry.
Dream Olympic location for you?
I do think in home in California or in, I don't know, I think Tokyo, Japan would have been a really cool spot, or Paris. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Paris would have been nice, but come on, LA, you're a Cali boy.
I hope so. That would be a really special one.
Yes.
Favorite non-horse hobby?
Running, I think, is my favorite hobby right now.
Okay, now we're disagreeing.
Biggest pet peeve at horse shows for you?
People that get angry at their horse for their own mistakes.
One thing people misunderstand about dressage.
It's hard to understand if you don't fully know the sport, and it's oftentimes people are always trying to put their best foot forward and constantly have a good communication with their horse.
There you go. If not horses, what career would you do?
I'm not sure. I think I would still be something that's like outdoorsy and maybe competitive. So I would say like maybe some other sport or yeah, I don't know, some other professional.
Like TV show.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I would have loved
Work
to
at SeaWorld and take care of Shamu or something like that?
That would have been really cool. I would have really liked that.
Best horse movie ever.
Spirit.
Ooh.
Spirit?
I really like that one.
One word to describe U.S. dressage right now.
Powerful, I would say. We have an amazing group of horses that are in the pipeline for the future.
Favorite recovery tool or routine?
I would say lots of stretching and muscle work, and I love like compression boots as well.
Okay. What instantly puts you in the zone?
Spending time with my horse, or I usually take a nap right before I compete.
All right.
Oh, I like that one. Naps. One thing you're still trying to improve.
Everything, I would say, but in particular, I think we're working a lot on position and specific dressage moves as well.
Most memorable moment of your career so far?
I think the Texas World Cup that was a really special one.
Finish this sentence. Success to me means
Understanding my horse.
Oh, beautiful answer.
And before we let you go, what words of advice would you give young riders in wanting to join dressage?
I think what's paid off dividends for me is trying to, one, constantly ask questions. I think that's something I still to this day do. I ask questions all the time because I really want to learn and understand, and having that kind of ever understanding and learning attitude. And then I've always tried to make myself really useful to those around me. And whether that was like the smallest things of cleaning something up or helping someone out, it's just part of my nature also. I just really do want to see people succeed and enjoy themselves at the barn. And so those things have been really helpful. Then I think I had opportunities that I would have never even dreamed of otherwise, just because I always try to do those two things. And that's still to the core of what I try to do every day, of just learning and trying to also help myself and also help my teammates and our horses.
So how can somebody follow your journey or learn more about you, get lessons, whatever you do?
Yeah, just on Instagram. First off, I'm quite on social media. And so on Christian.Simonson on Instagram and on Facebook and stuff like that.
Pete, Christian, I think you've been awesome and that we really appreciate you coming on. I think you really have shown how passionate you are, but also you're very humble and how you like to share everything. And we really appreciate you coming in with us in the zone. So thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. It's really fun to be on it.
We'll see you next time.
Awesome.
That's a wrap on another powerful episode of In the Zone with Ian Robb and Dancin Pete Rhoda. Whether you ride, compete, or simply love your animals like family, today's episode was a reminder that true teamwork starts with connection and that health is the ultimate performance edge. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave us a review. And catch us next time as we dive deeper into the mind, body, and bold journeys of top performers. Until then, stay focused, stay inspired, and keep riding in the zone.
If you're serious about your horse's health, whether you're riding dressage, show jumping, western, or racing thoroughbreds, there are two names you need to remember. Beamer, and independent Beamer representative Ian Robb. Trusted by high performers at every level, Beamer's equine line is scientifically designed to improve microcirculation, reduce muscular back pain, and promote faster recovery after exercise or injury. Beamer delivers more than a cutting-edge product. They bring a commitment to education, support, and real results. But this isn't a magic button, it's a system. And Ian Robb can make sure you get the most out of Beamer, and support doesn't stop after the sale. He offers personalized coaching, ongoing mentorship, and a true partnership in your horse's wellness journey. Real results need real support. Based at the World Equestrian Center in Ocala, Florida, Ian Robb is your go-to expert for Beamer's proven technology for both horse and human. Here's how to make it work for you. Call independent Beamer representative Ian Robb today, or scan the QR code on your screen to learn more. If it's horse health, it's Beamer.